So the day of reckoning has come for my old pedal board. Dave Friedman built this board that's at my feet in, I don't know, 2011, I think. I figure once every 5 or 6 years it's time. You gotta like rip it apart, start anew, start over again, because things start getting dodgy, and of course just over time you want to like try new pedals, get new stuff. Maybe you've thought of better ways to do things. So we're gonna start today on a whole brand new pedal board. Whatever was on this board is, some of it's gonna end up on this board that's in this box. So we're gonna rip it up and get started. So one of the coolest things about this board that I really liked about it was that we designed it so that you could run all the effects on this board in front of amplifiers, or you could run all the stuff coming out of the switcher, like the drives and stuff like that, in front of an amp, and then run the time-based stuff like the H9s and the timeline and stuff like that in the effect loop of an amp. The way that we did it was, this is the output right here for the Musicom Lab switcher. So you could literally just feed that to the front of, say, my PT100 amp, which is, you know, got an effect loop in it. Then you take the effects send to the amp, and you'd come back into this input right here, and then that would go into all the time-based stuff like the H9s and timeline delay and stuff like that. But let's say you wanted to use a twin reverb or something that doesn't have an effects loop, it's an old school amp, and run everything in front. Basically all you would do is just take the output of the switcher, jumper cable right into here, and that's gonna be like out of the switcher into all the time-based stuff to patch everything in front. Then you would just take the outputs, the H9 here, which is like the last thing in line, you could run that out to an amp. Everything would be in front then. I also had a MIDI AB box in this rig. It's underneath, it's mounted underneath the board, so that if I wanted to AB between two amplifiers, I could really easily do that. So if I wanted to do that and run everything in front, I would just take the outputs out of this H9, patch it down here into this jack here that says AB in, and then I could take out A and out B and go out to, say, you know, you can run like a twin and a Marshall head or something, an AB between them, use two different amps. So long story short, it was just really, really easy to patch in this board and use it with sort of old school amps or new style amps with effects loops. So I don't want to lose any of that functionality. I'm going to keep all that. This is the AB box I'm talking about. This was mounted underneath the old board. So you can see there's got an input and then an A and a B output and a MIDI input. And so this would allow me to AB between two amplifiers if I wanted to, or I could have one side, the A side for instance, would go to my acoustic rig, and then the B side would go to my electric rig, and then just per preset I would choose whether I wanted A to be on, B to be on, or you could have both on if you wanted to. I never used it like that. And the really cool thing on this is that it has a buffer
and isolation transformer for output B, and phase reverse for output B. So if you're running 2 amps with this MIDI AB box, and they were out of phase, you could easily just flip the phase right here on the AB box. So anyway, this thing worked just great, but on the new pedal board, I don't need to use it because in the Musicom Lab Mark V switcher, I can do all this stuff. You can actually AB 2 outputs, and it has a built-in isolation transformer for one of them. Which, for those that don't know, isolation transformers are really important in case you ever encounter ground noise or ground loops, that kind of thing. You can isolate one output, and that'll usually make the ground buzz go away. I've been a big fan of the Musicom Lab switchers for a long time. This is the new Mark V version. Slightly smaller footprint than the old Mark IV. Well, it's a little bit wider, but it's a lot less deep, and it does a lot of stuff. So this is going to be the switcher on the new board. Oh wait, how's this open? I guess that's all part of the unboxing fun.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, how's it open?
See guys, here's what...
I think this is how you do it. Oh, it's got a lovely...
And you got a gig bag for when you don't want to take your case.
Yeah, perfect. So one of the things about this thing is that I can lift it on my own, but it ain't light. So that's why I gotta make it smaller. What's gonna happen with those?
We're gonna fix it.
Oh. All right. This is kind of a terrifying moment because every gig I've ever done since 2011, pretty much, I've used this thing, and
Here we go.
oh, it's horrible. Oh, there's no turning back.
Alright, here's the good part.
Terrifying. Oh God, it's not.
I hope you remember where it all goes.
This actually really hurts. This is terrifying.
Out with the old, in with the new.
Yeah, out with the old, in with the new. This board will never be used again.
It's much faster to take it apart than it is to put it back together again. Did you just glue it in?
You made it.
Long time ago.
And there it is.
I gotta get the screwdrivers for this.
All right, we need to figure out where to fit all this stuff. So we're talking about whether or not to build a shelf, right?
Oh, we're gonna build a shelf. But
Put some of the stuff, build it up, put things underneath.
cram it in. Well, essentially these pedals, I don't have a shelf in front of me right now, but these pedals wind up stacking kind of over the other pedals in the back, the smaller ones in the back.
So you kind of build it up in the middle, and then you can make more space to tuck things underneath.
Yes.
That you don't need to get to.
Exactly.
So we're thinking about doing that.
Have to.
Have to.
If you want to fit it.
Okay, here's the running layout for this setup. So what we're talking about doing is there's going to be a wah here, maybe a mini Dunlop mini Crybaby, and then maybe running expression pedal, this boss, off the side of the board because we're kind of running out of space. But basically there's room for everything else. So Dave will build up a shelf with the DD500 and the two H9s using one of these and these guys. So they'll kind of be built up higher, and then they can go over top of the edge of some of these things. The Freak Out and the Harmonist are momentary, so they don't need to be in loops. They're going to be on the side of the board, so I can just hit them when I need to. And then some of these pedals are like alternates that maybe I want to switch out for sometimes. So like for instance,
I'll have the my old trusty Boss Hyper Fuzz in loop 2, but I'm digging this new Rusty Fuzz from TC, so maybe I can switch that out, or the Rufus from Sir. Hall of Fame 2 and Flashback 2. I'm a big fan of these ever since I saw them at GitCon with the mash expression pedal thing, so those are fun, but I really want to use a delay and reverb in front of the amp, so Echoplex and M300 from MXR I'm going to put on here, and then maybe potentially switch them out occasionally for the Flashback and the Hall of Fame. Those will run in front of the amps all the time.